Pick your fighter. Would you like Corn Man or Sweet Cream Man? We're debating it on PHNX Sun Devils coming up next.
Dude, that's horrible.
Happy Thursday! Woo! And welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show. I'm Anthony Totri. Oh my goodness.
It's a silly day today,
It's definitely a silly day. Look, I'm Anthony Totri. That's the corn man, also known as Erik Ruby. We have got the sugar-free cream guy behind the Mac.
Sugar-free cream
also
man,
known
baby.
as the deli man behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen.
I hate it.
You did it. You did it.
Not.
We'll tell the story at the end of the show.
No,
we will. I will. I will tell the story. That way Chad understands what's going on here. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button and drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Sharon saying, I thought it was Friday. It just, the vibes feels like a Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because the Sun Devils just got a commit yesterday. We'll get into Mason Marden. Definitely an interesting story that he told, I believe, Devil's Digest, as it relates to the recruiting process. You'll definitely want to stick around for that. Also, CBS Sports, they just dropped maybe the most laughable rankings that we have seen as it relates to Power 4 coaches. We'll tell you where Dilly ended up and who's ranked ahead of him. Just fair warning, it's a ridiculous list. And at the tail end of today's show, definitely some big news when we're talking college football playoff. The seeding is going to look different moving forward for a 12-team playoff. Does it benefit ASU? Does it hurt ASU? Does it affect the Sun Devils at all? How does that all sound to you, Ruben?
Sounds great. I'm going to be honest with you, though, because it feels like a Friday. I thought when you said at the very end, very important, hot or not.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of bracing for.
Elote.
Hot.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I am the corn man.
You are the corn man.
I notoriously just love corn.
Ben in the chat. Happy Fuel Day to all
Yes.
who celebrate. Absolutely. Make sure you check out Circle K today.
Do you have tummy issues too?
No.
Okay.
Is it just
That's
me?
because I'm a booch boy.
What?
A booch boy.
Kombucha?
Yeah.
You see,
I know
You-
Donald is pulling hair out of his head right now.
you get so upset about all the nicknames that Totri calls you. You give yourself
Yeah,
like
you
3
do
I don't
names.
get
rip
upset
your
about all
own
of them. I only get
nicknames.
upset about a couple of them. Old Dog Legs is the worst.
I didn't even give you that name.
I know,
He gave
he
you
did.
that name.
Old Dog Legs is the worst. Like Rubus, Professor Oates,
I
like
would-
Passenger Princess. That's all fine.
Old Dog Legs rips.
It does rip. It's a
I
very
don't
unique
know.
nickname.
It's very like, it's like you're putting me down. Like, oh, look at old Dog Legs over
no,
there.
we're not putting you down
no,
yet.
That's a compliment?
Yes, because you have to. You're thinking of it as like something negative. You
Yes.
have to, no, but it's not. What when I came up with it, what I had in mind was like a veteran grizzled pirate.
Bro, you looked at me
Old
and
Dog
said,
Legs.
you looked at me and you're like, you look like Old Dog Legs. And then you started screaming it down the hall like, hey,
No.
a new nickname just dropped for Eric.
No, that's
Old
not how
Dog
it happened.
Legs.
That's not how it
Totri.
happened.
The chat's just ripping some of your nicknames.
Phoenix is a good one. Blind Mouse is
Blind
good.
Mouse might be my personal favorite.
Yeah, it is good.
Blind Mouse is a good one. Hall
You
Monitor.
like Blind Mouse?
Yeah, Blind Mouse is fine.
That's like the most offensive one.
no.
Yeah,
I
No.
looked the picture, the side. We used to have a leave-alike that was side
Yeah,
by
I
side
know.
with it. It looked just like.
Just like
listen,
you.
can't hate it if it's right.
The Hall Monitor,
Hall Monitor.
Mustachio.
I had Mustachio. I don't remember.
No, that was him.
That's
That was
fine.
yeah. He didn't
I
like
was
that one.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
Jose Perez.
is-
Jose
When you-
Perez is all time. Jose Perez probably made me the most mad. To be completely honest with everybody,
Yeah,
that
you
was the
just
one.
didn't show up for a while,
for
dude.
one show.
Yeah,
It was-
well.
I took one show to prep for Suns,
Yeah.
and I was
And
Jose.
Jose took one
Perez.
tournament off, you know?
I love,
Sometimes
I love
that's all it takes.
JJ like trying to fight off the demons. Football show. Tom Grant Foster has UW Gonzaga is down to his final 3. Okay, sorry.
Oh my goodness. Good stuff. All right, what's the nickname for Arizona State's newest linebacker commit, Mason Marden?
Eminem.
I guess that's
Yeah.
wow. You just ripped that? You didn't have that one like predetermined? You came up with that on the
Just
fly?
literally off the dome.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Look, we talked a little bit about Mason Marden the other day prior to his commitment, so hopefully you guys were here because we told you that the odds were high that Mason Marden would ultimately choose Arizona State. 3-star linebacker out of St. Louis, Missouri. This is a kid that when we discussed him, I believe on Tuesday or Monday, the days just kind of blend together.
One of the days.
He's a very instinctual linebacker. This is the second linebacker addition for Arizona State's 2026 class. He joins Oscar Aguilar, who is a player that in terms of the rankings isn't necessarily the highest, but I really, really believe that these two linebackers could be the future of Arizona State's defense alongside a guy like Martell Hughes, who's another young linebacker on this roster. What was your first impression of Mason Marden prior to the news that he was going to commit, and then now that he is a Sun Devil?
Beforehand, I'm like, of course he plays tight end on the other side of the ball. You know, that was the first thought. No, it wasn't. He just has some plays that pop. Smart, fast, multifaceted as far as sniffing out stuff behind the line of scrimmage, backpedaling in coverage, couple of interceptions in there as well. Just seems like an not like elite at any one thing specifically.
Outside of just tackling people.
Well, yeah, I mean, like great at tackling, but you don't look at his game and think, oh, like there's this missing. He's got the speed. He's got a good size, body type, strength. Of course, he's going to have to work on all of that at a collegiate level. You didn't really see like, oh, he's using his athleticism to make up for mental mistakes. It felt like sometimes he was there at the spot he needed to be before the offensive player was, especially when he was sniffing out some stuff behind the line. So that's the type of player that can be plug and play in a lot of different types of defenses and whatever ASU wants to employ, and makes it easier for him maybe a couple of years down the line once he gets there to be able to shift around and maybe play a couple different positions, play a little bit on offense too. And that probably plays into the brain part of it, is he understands both sides of the ball because he has to.
Yeah.
And so you can sniff out, hey, if I was on offense, this is where I'd be going right now. Instincts kick in and he's there.
And he's already got really good size for a kid who's still got another year of high school football, right? 6'3", 220 pounds. Like that's prototypical size probably of a freshman linebacker at the college level when they get here. You stick him in a weight room with Coach Joe, give him an off season. There's no reason this kid can't be 6'3", 235, 240 going into his first season. First full year probably as a true contributor on this defense. Glenn saying Mason Marden. I love the menace from Missouri as a potential nickname for this kid. One of the top 10 players in the state of Missouri. He chose Arizona State over a number of schools. I believe it came down to Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Arizona State, and he ultimately chose the Sun Devils. And there was a story that came out a little bit later after his recruitment that is just like, it's amazing, right? Because of just, it goes to show the type of staff that Arizona State has. But Mason Marden told Devil's Digest this after he initially committed to Arizona State. He said, quote, "The thing that really stood out to me in the visit was definitely the overall family feel and family environment. Something a lot of people don't know that I'm going to share with you. My cousin, who's from Arizona, actually passed away a couple of weeks ago, and that conflicted with the visit date to ASU. And they decided to still fly me out, and they actually ended up driving him all the way to the funeral that day. The coaches met all of the family members and stayed there throughout the entire ceremony, showing them their support." He said that definitely showed a lot about their overall character and how they felt about me. Just a remarkable story about the Arizona State coaching staff in their pursuit of Mason Marden, obviously as a recruit, but treating him like a human being, right? Going through all of the things that he was going through on the family side of things. It's truly remarkable.
When we say that this staff is authentic from top to bottom, we mean it.
Yeah.
This is not lip service. This is not PHNX Sun Devils doing a Arizona State propaganda because that's the school that we cover, right? I think the biggest thing about this is Arizona State themselves is not going to tell you this.
Yeah.
Kenny Dillingham's not going to come out and be like, oh, well, we actually went and did this and that because we look good. No, like this was an intimate moment that never would have been shared if Marden didn't feel comfortable sharing it. But that does hit differently when somebody tells you we're more than just football here. We really are a family. We really care about you. You can hear that everywhere you go. But when you tell them, actually, I can't go to your visit because of this, and they say, all right, we're still going to fly you out and we're going to go with you, and you might not even play here. You might go play at Oklahoma. You might go play at Wisconsin. That's fine. We want to help you because we care about you. And yeah, that does come back and help them on the other side of it. They do get the recruit. Yeah. But you don't do that type of stuff if you're not genuine about it. And that's the main word about this staff from top to bottom. Of course, it's going to start with, and the most people are going to talk about Kenny Dillingham. They actually care.
Yeah. I think we have heard so often about the culture and how this all feels like a family, right? And it's one thing to hear those things, and especially if you're like a fan of this program and you hear the recruits and the incoming transfers say that, and you don't really get a taste of it. You're like, okay, that's awesome. We love the culture that is being built, but what does that look like, right? Sure. This is a perfect example of what that looks like, of what the culture is becoming at Arizona State, what this staff has in place for them to have a 3-star linebacker that they're in pursuit of. And for the kid to almost have to reschedule his visit because he had a family member pass away, and the coaching staff to say, you know what, it's all good. We're still going to fly you out. Don't even worry about the actual visit part of things.
Right.
We're going to make sure you get to the funeral. We're going to be there. We're going to meet the family members.
Right. We drove you there
because that's what family is. You out right. There, that's right? What family does. Right. So I think that's, again, a great example of what Arizona State is doing to separate themselves from everybody else in the country, but doing it in a genuine way, right? They're not doing it in a way that's like, oh, we're going to do this to try and get you, right? If you've talked to these coaches, if you talk to these players, it really does feel like a family type of bond that these guys have. And it really is no surprise that these kids continue to want to play at Arizona State. And with the addition of Mason Marden, Arizona State, Erik, now up to number 11 in the country in terms of the 2026 recruiting class.
Almost there on the top 10. And I think it's great because they probably could have landed him without doing this.
Yeah.
But they did. They could have been like, you know what? It's fine. And, you take care of your business and we'll be here for you. We wish you the best. Whatever it might be.
It's just above and beyond.
Right. Okay, we'll fly you out. That could be one thing. We'll fly you out. You take care of your business. We'll see you again. Oh, when you're here, if you want to say hi, it's fine. No, we're going to fly you out. We're going to drive you. We're going to be there. We're going to meet your family. And then you know what they didn't do afterwards? Hey, man, so are you coming to ASU?
Yeah.
I guarantee you they didn't just right afterwards turn around and be like, so what about your commitment?
Yeah.
What about football? Right? They're like, no, what about you? What about the person?
Yeah. And AJ Cooper, the linebacker coach for Arizona State, he was at Mason Marden's announcement yesterday, right? Which is really awesome stuff. And I'm sure AJ had a little bit of a heads up, right? Probably on where the decision was leaning. But maybe he didn't, right? Maybe he just showed up in support of this kid. He could have very well, AJ could have very well flown from Arizona to Missouri to watch a kid that they wanted on this roster to go commit to Oklahoma, to go commit to Wisconsin. But he was still going to be out there just to be a part of this kid's special day. You look at Landon Meary, another kid that we talked about, class of 2026 tight end that Arizona State is trying to get for that 2026 recruiting class. He just had his official visit a few weeks ago, right? Or not even a few weeks ago. I think he tweeted literally, Jason Mons is there 2 days after the official visit. Mons flew out to Ohio to go see him. Right, that's the type of stuff that this coaching staff is doing that you're not really seeing anywhere else, specifically in the Big 12. Right, I'm not saying it's not happening, but you're not seeing it. Right,
sure.
I don't see it. I don't see these coaches treating these players the way that Arizona State is doing it. I don't see these stories coming out the way that Arizona State is interacting with these kids. It's different. It's unique, and that's why these kids and these players that are highly touted want to come play at ASU.
Again, I go back to something I just said a couple minutes ago. Arizona State didn't put the story out there.
No.
The same way that you say you don't hear it from other schools, Arizona State is not standing on the pulpit and telling you every good thing they do on the margins. But what they're doing is catching people by surprise, or it's so potent with people that they feel like they have to share it.
Yeah.
They have to tell you what's so different about this program, and they have to tell you what's so different about these coaches and what they did for them, that it is basically free publicity, but not in the vain sense where you're trying to push it yourself. And that, again, makes you come across as authentic because you are.
Yeah.
Right? They're not going out there and going on these visits or being nice to recruits thinking this will make it to the papers, this will make it on social, this will make us look good. They know it's the right thing to do. And they're building a program the right way. And they showed last year that you can accelerate everything that you want with a program if you do it their way. So come build with us. Not just feel welcome as a family. Don't just feel welcome as a person. Don't just feel taken care of. But also come to a place where we're going to be pretty damn good at football. Yeah. And we're going to make sure that you get better at football. Because we know that while we care about you, the person, we know what the person cares about. And everybody who's on Arizona State's roster cares about football. Point blank, period. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They want to be great.
Yeah.
And we'll be the best place for you to be great without taking away your humanity. Why wouldn't you want to play there as a high schooler or as a transfer?
And look what it's doing to the fan base, right? Igniting it. I mean, just take a look at Jesse Winfield's comment saying, Coach Kenny Dillingham, let's see. Of course, it popped off. Coach Kenny Dillingham is what all Sun Devil fans have been waiting for. I'm excited to be a part of it now. Go Devils. Right?
I remember talking to fans at Camp T last year. I don't know if you know this, but went to Camp T last year. Never brought it up once. And just, first of all, the fan turnout for a team that was just 3-9 was insane. Mm-hmm. Insane, right? And going around and talking to everybody, I would just ask them, like, why are you so excited? Why are you here? What is it about this team? You know, it wasn't Sam Levitt. It wasn't Cam Scattaboo. It wasn't Jordan Tyson. Those were not the names that people were saying. They were saying Kenny Dillingham. They were saying that, oh, this guy reminds me of Frank Cush. Yeah. Some longtime Sun Devil fans who are like, oh, the greatest coach that this school has ever seen. I'm getting vibes like him. And every person I talk to is just like, I'm so excited to be here again. I'm excited to support this program again. And that investment paid off already. Think about all the new fans and the fans that weren't back in it at this point last year, who have over the last 365 days fallen back in love with this program. That's only going to make their power to recruit, the money that they're going to have to spend, their social media presence greater.
Yeah.
It's only going to benefit them and make it easier for them in the long run.
It's amazing stuff. And the things that continue to come out about the way Arizona State treats their players and the culture and the brand of football is stuff that I think, again, like ASU fans have just been craving. And I think it's something that you're just hopefully going to continue to get as time moves on and as long as Dilly is here. I think it's realistically only going to get more fun. It's only going to get better. And fans are only going to continue to, I guess, or I should say, fans of college football that maybe aren't directly Arizona State fans, right? Maybe they don't have a fan base yet, are going to want to support Arizona State, right? Yeah. Because they're going to see, I mean, you look last year, they saw players like Cam Scattaboo.
America's team, man. We talked about it.
It goes
America's team.
All back to ASU being America's team. But are they America's coaching staff? Does ASU have a top 10 coaching staff? Do they have a top 10 head coach in the Power Four? We're going to answer that question on the other side of this quick break. Guys, the NBA playoffs are in full swing. Maybe you're sick and tired of sitting on the couch with your beers, with your at-home nachos, watching the game on your small little TV. Well, I've got the solution for you.
Damn.
Go over to Wild Horse Pass. It's one of Gila River Resorts and Casinos, 4 different casinos that they have. Go check it out at the BetMGM Sportsbooks that they have over at Gila River Resorts Casinos. They've got massive screens, of course, delicious food and drinks. You can catch all the action. NBA playoffs, they've got some UFC cards. They've got PGA Championships, the French Open, the Indy 500. It goes on and on and on. It's the ultimate place to watch and win. Place your bets and experience the excitement. Plus, maybe you just want to go have a little staycation. Again, Wild Horse Pass is the place to be. And remember, you do you at Gila River Resorts Casino. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
I'll be at Wild Horse Pass this weekend.
You always are.
Yeah, it's just going to be a fun time. Nice little staycation. But you can't always be on a staycation. You got to be home. And if you own a home, look down at your feet. Are you happy with what you see? Sorry, look beyond your feet. Look at your flooring, because Empire today knows that not everybody is satisfied with what their floor is in their home or in their business. I know we redid our flooring here. It is holding up, honestly, way better than I thought it would with how we treat these floors and how much we move this set around. Man, these floors from Empire today have just been fantastic. And for you, you might think to yourself, well, are they flooring experts? Yes. Well, will they come to my house and help me out? Yes, a free in-home estimate. Oh, but you'd have to wait, what, a year for installation? No, they can start installation as soon as the next day.
Really?
Oh, but what about the money, right? There can't be anything else that comes with this. How about $350 off? That's right, $350 off when you use promo code PHNX. Head to empiretoday.com/PHNX for full details.
Can I tell you about a super fun time?
I guess.
July 3rd, 5:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
It's
you consider
Shane's
that
birthday.
the afternoon?
It's Shane's birthday. Huh?
Do we consider 5:30? Not to derail from the
Yeah,
birthday
it's
talk.
afternoon.
5:30 is the afternoon, or is that night?
I mean, if you think of the definition of afternoon,
It's
technically.
afternoon.
Yeah, but then you can say like 9 p.m. in the afternoon. Like
Yeah.
that,
No, 5:30 is the evening, in my opinion.
yeah, it's not
I
the
think
afternoon.
right after 5 is when it turns evening.
Yeah, anything up to 4:59.
But I accept afternoon
You know
as well.
what? Fine. Eric, you tell the people about it, since I'm wrong.
On Shane's birthday, July 3rd, Shane, who's never wrong, 5:30 p.m. in the evening
My birthday party.
till 10 p.m. till 10 a.m.
That's what we're branding it as.
We're branding it as your
Yep,
birthday?
Shane's
Wow.
birthday
It's
party.
time for Shane's PHNX pool party takeover at Chase Field. We've got right field reserved, which is the pool area at Chase Field on July 3rd, and we're inviting you to come hang out with the PHNX crew and other diehards. Now listen, it's Shane's birthday. It's the pool at Chase Field. There are very limited tickets. So you get a game ticket to the D-backs Nationals in the pool. You get complimentary food and beverages during the entire game. It's going to be amazing.
You get bevies the whole game?
Yeah, non-alcoholic beverages the entire game. And
there's
it's
more?
Shane's birthday.
And it's Shane's birthday.
And if you're a diehard, of course, you get discounts to all of our events. Go to gophnx.com/events to check out all of our events.
They play the Giants.
It says the Nationals.
No, I think the Nationals was last year.
Well, tell them to change the damn
Look,
read.
Yeah.
You're wrong. Ha! Loser.
Well, it's the Giants, which is even better.
Yeah, way better.
Way better.
Is it way better?
Wouldn't
Yeah.
even gone if it was the Nationals.
Wow. You wouldn't have gone to Shane's birthday party?
That's kind of crazy.
I haven't gotten invited.
That's messed up, man. Sharon says Shane gets fireworks for his birthday every year.
I do. I also get lots of love
Aw.
and
Must be nice.
an outpour of friendship.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Would you draft friendship number 1 in a man cave draft?
Yes.
You would.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
No. All right, sweet cream,
Still
man.
one of the It's I've got nothing on that note. You want to talk about the coaching staff
Didn't even have
as a
the worst.
whole?
Didn't even have the worst draft that day.
No,
so we
Ayrton
know.
did.
Just so we know,
You had a very bad draft,
it was not great.
but Ayrton
Not my
was
best
worse.
draft.
Ayrton was 100% worse.
Not my best draft.
Before we get into the coaching staff, hit the like button. Hit the like button.
That's a good idea.
Hit the subscribe button too if you're not already subscribed to
Do you
PHNX
think
Sports.
they have it in them?
I think a good majority of them do. You know, I think there's going to be some individuals out there that are like, "Shh, don't
Too
tell me
weak
what
for it?
don't tell me what to do. You know,
Oh, don't tell me what to do. I'm a free thinker. Hit the subscribe button. Okay, hit the subscribe button.
oh my
It's free.
goodness. Look, there are a lot of free thinkers over at CBS who apparently,
Unfortunately,
apparently think that Arizona State doesn't have a top 15 coach in the country, doesn't have a top 3 coach in the conference. Top 4 coach in the conference, if you will. CBS Sports, they dropped their Power 4 coach rankings. And Arizona State's Kenny Dillingham comes in at number 18. The reigning Big 12 Coach of the Year was ranked behind 4 other Big 12 coaches, including Kansas's Lance Leipold, Chris Kleiman at Kansas State, Matt Campbell at Iowa State, and Kyle Whittingham at Utah.
I'll listen to one of these.
You know what power stands for? Pretty outlandish wannabe ESPN ranking list.
Wow.
That's what it stands for.
You come up with that just now?
Yeah.
Wow. That
That was pretty sweet.
yeah. That's
Cream, man.
Oh my gosh.
Erik's mic is muted until he apologizes.
Oh my goodness. Look, we did record a trending on this topic that will hit your guys' feeds strictly on this topic.
Totri goes on a very funny
Friday
rant.
morning.
Very funny rant.
But I had to throw this out there to get Shane's thoughts on it. And we could do a little bit of a recap. And I want to hear what Chad has to say on this list. Again, Dilly at number 18.
How are you ranking him behind a coach he just undressed in a national or in a conference championship?
I don't know.
He undressed every coach ahead of him.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he undressed Leipold, but
that's fair. He beat him.
No, he just undressed Matt.
And,
I mean,
and Whittingham
and Kansas State's coach.
Yeah,
Kleiman.
That game was never close.
No.
Until the end, but that doesn't matter.
This is crazy. I'll say it again. You can listen to the trending pod tomorrow because it's still fun. I'll say this is so stupid. This is ridiculous.
It is stupid.
In a vacuum, 18th in the country, I'll be okay. That's fine, right? If he was a top 2 coach in the Big 12, you want to give Whittingham the nod, that's fine. There is not another coach in the Big 12 that you can look at going into the future and be like, I'd rather have them lead my program than Kenny Dillingham. Point blank, period.
Yeah, I would agree.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's the second time I've said that this show.
It's truly a strange list. I ranted, and you guys can check it out tomorrow on Lincoln Riley being ranked higher.
Very funny.
Brent Brennan, I believe, was ranked the second worst coach.
Third to last.
Third worst coach
Which
in the
is
Power 4.
Too low?
Not low enough.
Jeff Lebby was last.
Who Arizona State will see this season.
Yeah,
at Mississippi State. It is truly mind-blowing that a head coach that won the conference, went to the college football playoff, won Big 12 Coach of the Year, is not considered a top 3 coach in this conference, considering he did something in the Big 12 that I don't think has ever been done before, where the media picks you to finish 16 of 16. They picked the gum on the bottom of Mike Gundy's shoe to finish higher than the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Yeah.
And Dilly and company put it on a bulletin board and said, bet. And they beat up, like Shane said, for lack of better terms, undressed a number of these Big 12 teams en route to a Big 12 championship that wasn't even close. They spanked Iowa State all the way back to Ames, and then they went to the college football playoff and were a play away from advancing. Now, there was an argument in this office earlier from the single individual who always tears down Arizona State, or attempts to, and that was Damon Dog. Damon Dog said that you have to give nods to some of these coaches that have been doing it longer. But by that logic, Mike Gundy should not be as low as he was on that list. Kyle Whittingham's Utah Utes had a bad year. Whittingham's a good coach. He's ranked in the top 12. Okay, Mike Gundy, for the last 2 decades, Oklahoma State has been really good. 3-4 years ago, they were a yard away from a college football playoff. Last year, a bad year. Where is he? Outside, looking in the top 30. Doesn't make sense if we're going by that logic by any means. And again, there was a point of conversation when we're talking about Dilly of like, oh, Arizona State won a lot of close games. Yes, they did. But why is that a
detriment to your coaching
why is that
staff?
A knock on the coach, right? That in my mind, that should be almost something that you're like, oh, that's amazing, right? That you were down or you were in however many 1-score games down the stretch and you found ways to win. To me, that says I'm a great coach.
Yeah, if they were losing those games, it would be the exact opposite. You'd be like, oh, wow, why can't Kenny get it together? Why can't this coaching staff
word that was
come
used
through
was
in a
fluky.
clutch moment? Yeah, it's just nitpicking. Fluky, they won the football games.
They
won the football games.
At the end of the day, that is all that matters. And I mean, aside from the final score, of course. I don't want to dive too deep into this
because we have
the
for
whole
like 10
trending
minutes before.
But we can take this a step further because there was another list, not by CBS, by just some random college football account that had done the top 10 coaching staffs, like staffs as a whole in college football. And I believe Arizona State came in at number 6 on that list. I'm curious from your guys' perspective and from chats, do we feel like this staff overall is worthy of that, of a top 10 bid as one of the best coaching staffs in college football.
We just spent like 20 minutes talking about how they're doing everything right. And
Let's go coach by coach, though.
Okay, let's do it.
Kenny Dillingham. We've said enough.
I would say that's a top 10 coach.
Marcus Arroyo, your offensive coordinator.
The only offensive coach to be nominated for the Broyles Award.
As a Broyles Award finalist.
Which is the top assistant coach.
Correct.
In the country. So I think maybe best offensive coordinator in the country is what they think.
Brian Ward, defensive coordinator.
Brian Ward's defense has been suffocating.
Yeah.
Has been well prepared, has overachieved for what many believe the talent level to be. He can and absolutely probably will be a head coach one day.
Smothered the Texas ground game in that college football playoff game.
Stepped up in all the big moments.
Suffocated the Iowa State 1,000-yard wide receivers on each side. Made Avery Johnson look like a high school quarterback in the first half of that game against the Wildcats. Made the Arizona Wildcats look like true kittens outside of Tedoroa McMillan. I mean, you can go game by game. That defense was phenomenal.
We mentioned yesterday just makes big plays, big timely plays.
Yeah, and honestly, I think they're going to be the best defense in this conference this year.
I agree. I think they'll be one of the best defenses in the country.
Yeah, AJ Cooper, your linebacker coach.
Great coach.
Great coach. Has been with Brian Ward since he was at Washington State.
Just talked about how he was in for the guy's commitment. For Mason's
and think about the players that and AJ Cooper I feel like is a really underrated name
for sure.
on
You don't
this
talk
staff.
about him a lot,
But look at the additions that he had in the transfer portal over the last couple of years. Cyrus Viaseu, Keyshawn Elliott, Jordan Crook, right? All three are day one starters at probably 12 of these other Big 12 schools on defense, and they're all three a part of the rotation in this ASU defense. I mean, he's a phenomenal recruiter. I don't think he gets enough love on this staff. And the reason I don't think he gets enough love is because you have so many talented coaches and recruiters. One of those really talented coaches being Brian Carrington, who is by far and away the best dressed coach in college football. The most drip by far. And this guy, like, we talk a lot about Kenny being able to relate to these players. Shane, we've talked to Brian a number of times. I remember that very first time that they did like the whole coach like media circus, which was
speed dating.
Yeah, the speed, which was awesome, by the way. I would love to do that again. Brian Carrington was just like maybe the most down to earth assistant coach I've ever talked to.
Didn't we talk to him and Samp at the same time?
I think we did back to back.
Yeah, that was just like, oh my god.
What were your thoughts on Brian Carrington as like a coach? Because a lot of people always talk about him as like, he's the recruiter.
Yeah, I mean, he's earned that title. He is Texas to Tempe, like that's his thing. Yeah. And where are all the players from Texas playing?
Yeah, DB
in the secondary. So, yeah, I mean, the first thing you notice is obviously the age. Like him and Sam both were just like, oh my god, what is going on? Like our coach is a baby. These two are toddlers.
Yeah, literally.
It's awesome. So, yeah, the relatability, just the vibe he brings. He's such a, I get it, what college football is nowadays. And obviously, like, you want to put those people at the forefront of recruiting, and that's why he's doing it. But also, like, just in terms of a person and like his, here's this word for the kids out there, the aura he brings.
Yeah.
Is he aura maxing?
It's different.
It is. It 100% is different. And then you talk about the edge rushers for Arizona State, right? I mean, pick your poison. Vince Amy, Deron Reynolds, both these guys are phenomenal at what they do. Like in terms of like coaches, these guys do a great job of developing those guys off the edge and in the interior, like maybe better than any of the other coaches on the staff.
Deron Reynolds has his priorities straight because we saw him at the aquarium.
We did. His whole family, I think, was at the aquarium.
Ripping some sharks.
He was looking at CJ Fish.
No, he was
Kenny Fishingham.
He was looking
Kenny Fishingham.
What was the shark one? Oh, it was so good. Whatever it was. I'll think of it while you continue to podcast.
Was it Sharkeishawn Elliott or something like that? Maybe
Sharkeishawn
Elliott. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I don't know. Definitely think that was a funny video that we did. Okay, moving to the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Sean Aguano, your running backs coach.
One of the best high school coaches the state's ever seen. Took a very prestigious position room at Arizona State and continued to add on that and maybe gave it its best player ever in Cam Scattaboo. He is somebody I believe probably could be a head coach at one point. I don't know if that's the best role for him, because I think when you let him focus on a room like these running backs, he's just so elite with it. Plus, I mentioned in the chat, we talk about having priorities straight. Family man to the max.
Yeah.
One of the nicest coaches I've ever gotten to speak to back when I covered him when he was winning state championships at Chandler.
Now he's winning Big 12 championships.
Now he is a great experienced coach who has put a lot of high school players in the NFL and has now put some college players in the NFL as well. He's probably one of the more respected names on the staff.
Jason Mons, your tight end coach, who just continues to get tight end after tight end.
Maybe the best recruiter on the staff.
You think?
I mean, we literally talk about, okay, tight ends, we're good. We got a lot, and they're like, hey, here's another 3-star.
Here's
another high 3-star tight end. Here's a monster, an AJ Ia, who we think is going to be a day one impact maker as a freshman. Here's the golden goose, Jaden Fortier, right? He is able to get some of the higher end prospects that this school has been able to see. Plus, think about it. All Big 12 tight end, Shimon Mattia, right?
Yeah.
You have Carmani Anderson, who you got from Kentucky. You're able to get talent in that room. And for this team and for what this offense tries to do, having multifaceted big tight ends like that is key. And he just nails the assignment every time.
He does. He absolutely does. I think the thing that's been most impressive to me about Jason Mons has been for such a long period of time before Mons got here at Arizona State, and I feel like Chat and other ASU fans can attest to this, all you ever heard at the end of spring ball was, hey, Arizona State's got these big-ass tight ends that can run, they can block, they can catch, they can do it all. And you're like sitting there all of summer just super amped and excited, and then you get to fall camp, and it's like, okay, we're a couple of weeks away from watching these tight ends just eat, and then you wait all year, and they don't do anything. Jason Mons comes in, and the tight ends start to produce, right? Like you said, you had an all-conference tight end in Shimon this past season. You're going to have a really talented freshman in AJ Ia. I'm excited for the fan base to see what Kamari Anderson brings to this tight end room. Not to mention, you've got other guys like a Jaden Fortier, a Cameron Harpool. Like, you're adding guys, right? Hayden Vircher, one of the higher-rated class of 2026 tight ends that you were able to get. Like, it's definitely credit to what Jason Mons has been able to do at ASU thus far. Moving on to the wide receivers.
Before we move on, I going back to the Shark bit. I know what it was.
What was it?
So it wasn't Shark Keyshawn Elliott. It was Keyshawn Elliott.
Keyshawn Elliott,
which was great. And it was Shark Mari Simmons.
Shark Mari Simmons that was a good one.
There it is.
That was a really good
Okay,
one. I was just ripping in that aquarium.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go watch our Peach Bowl vlog.
Very fun vlog.
Very fun vlog.
Gosh, I wish I could go back to the Peach Bowl. Not like this year.
No, you can. You can go back.
I want to go back
in
to
time and get on the field and break up that fourth down.
God.
No, it's the Interstellar meme. No.
I still haven't tried to watch back all of the replays. But I am for sure in the background because that the catch happened right in front of me, and it's funny. I have footage of me, I have footage from my camera. And right when he catches it, I immediately pan the camera down. I'm just sick to my stomach.
Just sad. It's that Matthew McConaughey meme in Interstellar where he's just crying and banging on the thing. Gosh. And Shane's over there. He's like, they didn't bring us here to change the past. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Hines Ward, your Super Bowl MVP wide receiver coach, Hines Ward.
It's kind of funny we get this deep in the conversation, and the card you pull out is Super Bowl MVP Hines Ward, who's a hell of a coach.
Yeah,
hell of a coach. He holds his guys to the highest of high standards, and you saw that in this wide receiver room last year, and again helped produce somebody like Jordan Tyson, and Jordan Tyson being somebody that also gets down and dirty and will get in there and block and do all the little things. I mean, the most recognizable name on your staff, list, probably one of the most recognizable names on any staff
in college football.
Country.
Yeah, as an assistant coach, he might be the most recognizable assistant coach name. Yeah, by far.
Yeah,
and it's not even for what he does.
Names even including head coaches that are more recognizable than Hines Ward, like Bill Belichick,
that are currently coaching,
like Bill Belichick,
Kirby Smart.
But even that, like, if you go to
are we talking just general football fan?
Just general football fan. I think they know Hines Ward over Kirby Smart. Maybe because Hines was a little bit ago now. Maybe it's a little different.
Maybe. I mean, like the current generation that's growing up right now won't probably know Hines. But like the kids that are just now signing, like they were on the very tail end, I guess, of like Hines was good when they were just babies. Mm-hmm. Like for us, we watched Hines Ward when we were like growing up, right?
Yeah.
And we saw what he did for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and realistically, like he changed the wide receiver position for like to be able to go out there and block. Like they're not just guys that can go catch the ball. Rounding out the coaching staff, or at least the guys that we're going to talk about, Coach Saga on the offensive line. Anybody?
That offensive line, I think, was maybe the room that overperformed relative to people's expectation the most. Now, a lot of people probably get stuck with a little bit of a sour taste considering Texas's defensive line was able to get a lot of pressure on Sam and get him running. But there is no Cam Scadaboo season, and there is no Sam Levitt season. There is no good Jordan Tyson season without how solid this offensive line was. And when Saga preaches family and trust and a bond and cohesion, which is probably more important in the offensive line room than any other room in football, he gets that to the max. Plus the Polynesian pipeline as well is something that's been huge. I'm very excited to see what they're able to do trying to fill the Leaf Taunu role.
Yeah.
This year. I think that's a big test for Saga and for Ben Coleman and for the rest of the offensive line. But I feel comfortable, right? Which is a testament to all of those guys.
Well, you think about some of the players that I mean, we talk about skill guys a lot, right? In terms of like, oh, Arizona State got Cam Scadaboo in the transfer portal. Oh, Arizona State got Jaron Hamilton, Jordan Tyson, Sam Levitt. How about some of those offensive linemen that Saga has been able to get over the years at Arizona State, right? Leaf Taunu was a transfer, right? Comes in immediately, is your day one starting center. Ben Coleman was a transfer, right? Jalen Clem, who is probably going to be a starter along the offensive line, who was coming from an offensive line at Washington that won the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line in college football, right?
That went to a national championship.
Yeah, like he's getting some dudes along the offensive line, and I'm not sure there is a group outside of offensive line that just continues year over year in the transfer portal to just add a ridiculous amount of players. Like the depth that they have at the offensive line, I feel like for years to come is going to be really, really solid. And of course, special teams, you could talk about Charlie Regal. Last year was not a great year for special teams overall. I do feel like this year will be improved. Jesus is a much, much better kicker than what Arizona State had last season. Canyon Floyd is back at punter.
Go Skis.
I think this will be a much better season for the Arizona State special teams group, and I think people are going to hopefully talk about Charlie Regal a little bit differently going into next season.
Hopefully. Probably the coach that can change his perspective the most.
Yeah.
Going into this season in a positive way. This same Mike says he asked his normie brother if he knew who Hines Ward and Kirby Smart was. Said his brother knew Hines Ward, but thought Kirby Smart was an anime character. And that he's not going to correct him.
There you go. More people know.
I want to know how old is your brother? The same way.
I guess that's a fair question. While Erik asks that, make sure you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, you drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast.
It's a good idea.
We appreciate you, Northside, saying you're here to show love. We appreciate you a ton. We are going to get into something that has completely changed the college football playoff.
Before you go into the break, can you give him a Jake from DNVR Buff Nation?
I don't know what they do. What do they do?
Buff Nation.
No, I can't. I can't. I will not. Never, ever, ever, ever. We're going to go into this break.
Everybody needs a checking account. Even Buff Nation needs a checking account. And whether you support a good team like Arizona State or a bad team like Colorado,
wow,
you need a checking account. And that's why Mountain America Credit Union is always here for you with my style checking account that has perks that work for you. Restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, telehealth access, identity protection, loan rate discounts, offers on travel and events, and more. So when you're going back in time to the Peach Bowl, an offer on travel from My
Hell
Style Checking. And the emphasis on and more. The possibilities are endless. Make My Style your lifestyle. At Mountain America Credit Union, visit macu.com/mystyle to apply. Insured by NCUA, membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits required. No cost registration and activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Get all the perks that you could possibly imagine with My Style Checking at Mountain America Credit Union.
Wee woo, wee woo. You know what that is?
No.
That's the big news sounder from Sanderson Ford.
News.
Ford just announced from America for America employee pricing. So now you guys pay the same price as the owner of Sanderson Ford on the full lineup on new Fords with no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense, and of course, no added markups. And on top of employee pricing, you guys can get additional Ford incentives on over 1,000 vehicles during the Sanderson Ford Platinum 70th Anniversary Sale. Choose Sanderson Ford because they have the inventory and they're celebrating 70 years of treating you right. So now is the best time to buy a new Ford from Sanderson Ford with From America for America employee pricing. Plus, in celebration of their 70th anniversary, make sure you stop in and get a pair of tickets to an Arizona Diamondbacks game, literally just for stopping by. No test drive is even required. Now, it excludes 2025 Expedition, Super Duty, Raptor family, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles. One pair of tickets per household with valid driver's license to that July 6th game versus the Kansas City Royals while supply of 200 tickets lasts.
Wow.
Yuma asking sunglasses. Why are you both wearing sunglasses? I'm wearing sunglasses because I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning and didn't go to sleep. So the bags under my eyes are currently touching my knees. So that's why I'm wearing sunglasses today. Yeah.
Sun's in my eyes.
Yeah,
bright
I
in
guess
here.
that's fair. It is bright in here. I mean, I turned the light on, and Shane, I really thought I blinded him for a second. I just want to make sure you're good, Shane. You're okay.
I'm fine from that incident.
There was a separate blinding.
I know. I'm just in a nasty headspace when you guys are wearing sunglasses.
You don't like the...
No, I hate it.
Yeah,
He doesn't like the glare.
He's a big anti-glare guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Why are you wearing sunglasses, Shane?
I'm not.
You're still wearing sunglasses.
You want me to show my face?
yes.
Show
I
my
think
pretty
that's what the
face?
people. I
Show
think
your
that's what
pretty
the
face,
people want.
mustache man.
Okay, hold please.
Mustachio.
Whoa.
People want to see the shaded Shane.
They want to see who's making that sandwich.
That's perfect. Just do that.
I'll put myself. Like,
Yes.
Like right.
Can we
there.
do that from now on? Just put you like on a little like lava lamp type thing, like right here. That would be awesome
You have to summon
if
me
we
first.
could do it. We have to what?
You have to summon me first.
How do we summon
We
you?
summon
Do we do it like a bell?
the Dieffenbach.
I don't know. You have to try.
The anti-glare guy.
It's anti-glare man.
Hey guys,
Wow, he took so long to do that because he
Does
was
it-
taking off his sunglasses.
does it look like I have sunglasses on?
You do have glasses on though,
I do.
which also have a glare.
No, I don't. I'm not on the set.
I see a glare. Do you not
This
see a
ain't
glare?
Mike says face reveal. I love you. This ain't Mike. His face has been revealed quite a few times.
Yeah, Sharon with the obvious answer here, guys. Erik is the blind mouse. That's
Come
why
on.
he wears
Yuma
sunglasses.
Drew, come on.
Get it right,
Shane's
man.
just still there. Shane's just gonna be floating himself
should.
around on the screen. Oh, can we program it in so it's like the DVD thing that bounces around the screen and it's
No,
just
I can just
Shane,
do it.
Oh my
The whole
but
show.
never actually hit a corner?
The whole show.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Oh,
That
my
is
goodness.
amazing.
Look, should we get into some potentially
I'm sorry, that's so funny.
potentially big news? I guess not even potentially. Definitely some big news in college football.
Yeah.
Should we do that?
I can't focus, but we
I
definitely
know.
This
should.
is
I
so
know.
great.
This is
So-
awesome.
Oh.
Is he gone? No, he's
He
still there.
still hasn't hit a corner.
He's still, yeah. I'm gonna stay silent
I think I'm. Oh my god, I'm going for one. I'm going
for
for
a
one.
corner.
A
I'm going for
corner.
one.
Is he gonna hit the corner?
Oh my god.
And
He stopped. Wow.
wow, he disappeared. Unbelievable. David in the chat. Yes, huge news for the college football playoffs. Changes to the seeding. So now the top 4 seeds are going to get first round buys regardless if that seed won a conference title. Conference champs still get auto bids, but they're seeded based on their ranking. This is going to be the final year of the 12-team playoff, with the 2026 playoff expanding to 14 or 16 teams. This is what sources told Brett McMurphy. If straight seeding was in place last year, the biggest difference would be Texas and Penn State would have received first-round buys. Boise State would have dropped from number 3 to number 9, and ASU would have dropped from number 4 to number 11, and they would have played number 6 Ohio State.
Call this the Boise State, Arizona State rule.
What do we think? What do we think of the seeding rule?
As long as it's still auto bid when you win your conference, then that's okay with me.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. I thought it was fine the way that it was, but I understand why they're doing this. I understand why people were upset about it as well. Because, we were actually top 4 seed. We should get a bye. Blah, blah, blah. I understand. I think if the roles are reversed, I'd feel the same way.
I think this is more if you have big issues with this, then you're probably somebody that was like, you wanted your team to get a bye. I think in football versus like other sports, it's a tad different. I'm not saying I'm totally anti-bye week. But you already do get 2 byes in the college football structure, at least Arizona State in the Big 12. You have scheduled out 2 bye weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we're looking back to last year for Arizona State, yes, the matchup in theory would have been, probably harder, right? Ohio State won the national championship, so it is certainly, I guess, a harder matchup than you having to take the bye and then play Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona State at the time was playing as hot as anybody in college football, coming off that Big 12 championship game. And it felt like they had to wait a while before that January 1st game.
Sure.
I think it is going to be very, very rare, if ever, that you see Arizona State get a top 4 seed in the college football playoff, which means that I think you have a better chance of seeing Arizona State probably get like a 6, 7, potentially 8 seed, which means the Sun Devils would host games in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Right? Which, based off of the conference championship rule, the top 4 seeds, whatever, you probably wouldn't get that because Arizona State was just going to win the conference.
I think it's going to be hard for them to host games.
You think so?
Yeah, because a 6, 7, 8 seed, that means you're a 6, 7, 8 top 10 team in the country. And while that's not unattainable for this team,
if they win the conference this year, they'll host a playoff game.
Maybe.
Definitely not maybe. They're going to start the year a top 15 team, and if they win the conference,
I just you think about the 1-loss SEC team bias and the 1-loss Big 10 team bias. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I feel like this fixes it though a little bit. No, I disagree. I think you're going to have those teams still ranked ahead of an Arizona State, which means they'll probably get buys.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. ASU came out of nowhere and they had a lot of climbing to do, but this team was one of the hottest teams in the country and won their conference, and they wouldn't have been in a position to host a playoff game.
They were technically the last
This
team
past year, they wouldn't have hosted.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. No, yeah, but they came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right. This is a different. I think moving forward, ASU is going to be in such a different circumstance. In theory, like you look at this season, right? Probably a top 15 team to start the season. There's no reason this team can't work its way up to a top 6 team in the country, given its schedule. And then again, if you find yourself as a conference champion, not only are you already getting in, but if you're a team that started the year top 15, then you should probably down the stretch be a top 10 team.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing is where they're going to start out.
Yeah.
And look, the only problem is we went over the schedule. Like, all of those games you should win. You should. But then we know the reality. Like, this is football. Things are going to happen. So if the season that we expect ASU to have is anywhere what we think, they'll probably lose. They'll probably drop a game, and that game, that loss to a Kansas State or whoever is going to be weighed a lot more than a 1 or 2 loss SEC team losing in conference.
You think
it just is?
You think that I guess I shouldn't say you think. This is more of a question. Let's say ASU is a 1-loss team this year.
Yeah.
1-loss team. Let's say they lose to Iowa State.
Okay.
It's a later game in the year, but all year long they've been a highly ranked team. Let's say they win the conference.
Yeah.
Where does a 1-loss Arizona State Big 12 champion?
If you just lose to Iowa State, then you should be. But if not, there's also a world where they're 9 or 10, and then they're not hosting a game.
Like, you think there's a world where they're 9 or 10 as a 1-loss?
Yeah, I think there's a world because ASU
100%.
always gets disrespected.
I just don't think that's the case this year. I just don't see it.
I hope not.
Not with all the preseason hype. Not with Sam. Not with Jordan. Like, last year, yes. Last year, I get it because you were a team that came out of nowhere. But this year, it's not that, right? Like, who was a preseason top 15 team last year? Does anybody know?
What more context with that? I mean, Alabama.
I guess, yeah, Alabama's not a great example.
Let me go to preseason. You want to know who was at preseason?
I want to know who was a preseason top 15 team last year and maybe was a one-loss team.
Oh, that was a one-loss team?
Give me, a one-loss team, for example.
Well, that's going to take a little bit. You might need to talk.
I'll give you the top 15. Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, Penn State, Michigan, Florida State, hilarious, Missouri, Utah, LSU, Tennessee, Clemson.
Okay, Tennessee. I know they're in the SEC. How many games did they lose? They didn't even play in a conference championship game. They made the playoff.
They were second in the SEC. They ended the season 10-3, and that was
they were a 3-loss SEC team.
You're proving my point.
But
they were a 3-loss SEC team, and they made the college football playoff.
But that's what I'm saying. So a 1-loss Big 12 champion would be higher ranked than what Tennessee was at the end of the year as a 3-loss SEC team because of where they're starting the year.
Again, if they just lose to Iowa State, yes,
they'll host a game.
Yes, but if they just lose to like Colorado, and Colorado's,
I think if they're a 1-loss team and win the conference, I really don't think it matters who they lose to. It'll matter at the time for the ranking, right? And of course, if you're going to lose, you'd rather lose closer to the start of the year than you would the end of the year because there's recency bias. But if you're a 1-loss Big 12 champion back-to-back with a Heisman finalist at quarterback, there's no way this committee is putting you on the road in the college football playoff.
So here's the rankings before the college football playoff. Tennessee, who is 10-2, was 7.
So they hosted a playoff game.
Ohio State, who was 10-2, was 6. It happens.
But they also
didn't. SMU, who was 11-2, was 10.
Yeah, but those teams that the Ohio States and the Tennessee, they didn't win the conference.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because a conference championship is 100% going to. We saw the rankings at the end of the year how they move you.
Well, these are after the conference champions.
These
are after the conference championships. ASU only moved up 3 spots after they won the
but
Big 12.
Where were they? Right, they were at 15 or 16 at the time.
They were at 16, and they were at 15, and they moved up to 12.
Yeah,
you only move up 3 spots.
But again, part of that, at least from my perspective, was the fact that they came in the game so late.
Yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying, but you have to understand what I'm saying. A team that wasn't even in their conference championship is already cemented higher than ASU. And again, I know they're going to start higher and they're going to have a better head start, but it's the Big Ten and SEC bias that's going to be hurting.
Do we think, or I guess to kind of round out this conversation, we've talked about the ASU side of things. How do we like this? Do we like the 4 highest seeds getting buys?
Just pulling my mic back because I was just letting y'all rip.
Do we like the?
I'm fine.
Do we like this new format?
I'm fine with it.
Not getting buys. Or the 4 highest seeds.
The 4 highest seeds getting buys.
I'm fine with it. I understand the logic. I don't love it. It's probably not going to play in the Big 12's favor, but I'm not pissed off about it.
I think this is definitely something that will make the first round games more competitive.
Sure.
Because I think we saw a lot of those first round college football playoff games be problems, right? You had your blowouts with Indiana and Notre Dame. You had the SMU Penn State situation. Clemson and Texas, I think, was maybe slightly closer than the final score, right? Clemson, I believe, at the end tried to make it a little bit of a game and ultimately just couldn't do it. But I think part of this has to do with that, right? I think those first round games were just so uncompetitive that seeding these 4 best teams realistically at the end of the rankings as your 1, 2, 3, 4 buys, while still allowing conference champions to get in, I think is going to be is huge. I think this is unfortunately the last you will see of a non-Power 4 team get a bye. It was the one Boise State appearance. There was a lot riding on Ashton Genty's quads in that game, evidently, and it fell short. Like Brett McMurphy said, it sounds like the playoff will expand to 14, 16 teams down the stretch. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't know how you guys feel about 14 to 16 teams.
Whatever.
It's whatever.
I'm done getting mad about this stuff.
I hate 16.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. And I understand it, but at this point, it's just more football. It is what it is. They want to make more money, but we'll get games to talk about. And there's more of a chance for Arizona State to be in the college football playoffs. Like, there's a reality where they're the 15th, 16th best team, in the country in the next coming of years. And we'll be happy that they made the college football playoffs. So
I can't wait for Ole Miss against Ohio State. That's going to be horrible if they do a 16-5. Horrible.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Or whatever it would be. I don't even know. If they do it, if it's 16, would teams even get a bye? Would they just
I don't know what would happen.
Would they just 16-1? Oh, perfect. Georgia against Ole Miss. That sounds great.
It's just a midweek or a mid-year SEC game anyways at that point. I don't know. Guys, let us know in the comments.
Can I interest you in Army in Georgia?
You can't, actually. Not even a little bit. Hit that like button and the subscribe button on your way out. We appreciate everybody stopping by for a Thursday. We'll be back on Friday. If you enjoyed today's content, give us a follow at PHNX _Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony _Totri. You can follow the blind mouse here at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. And you could follow the sugar-free cream man, also known as the deli man, at Shane Dief.
Just floating around as always.
And we will see you guys on Friday. But in the meantime, go Devils in peace.
We all silly like the mayor.